a boring, ugly door. Some Barnes & Noble gift cards, they just wandered into my possession on their own two legs. Smells like a Bible. I go, that looks pretty awesome, and I buy it and we go from there. What's up, guys? My name is Natalie and welcome to my Nook of Novels. In today's video, I am going to be spinning my wheel and choosing my March TBR. Now, the last TBR video that I did on this channel was my December Wheel of TBR, and I did that one a little bit differently than usual. So what I did instead of spinning the wheel and letting prompts choose my reading for the month was I instead put only sequels on the wheel. And so I let it choose just exactly what sequels I was going to be reading in the month of December. And I feel like that method worked pretty well for me for the month of December specifically, because it chose a TBR for me that I felt good about being productive with for the end of the year, to read the last final things that I wanted to read in 2025. And I feel like that worked for those specific goals. Now, in January, I still wanted to try to read some sequels. And so for my January Wheel of TBR, which I filmed and never edited, so you guys are not going to be seeing that one. But what I did is I put every other prompt as an actual normal prompt and every other one as just a sequel. So that also I feel like worked pretty well for me because it gave me some choices while also pushing me to continue to read sequels. Now, come February, I didn't even film this one because I knew I was not going to get a chance to edit and or post it. So I just spun the wheel, just me and myself, and what we determined is that it was just too many sequels. I don't feel that I had enough option or choices when it came to what my TBR was going to be, because it was pretty much predetermined for me, because most of the things I ended up spinning that month were just sequels that I had no control over what I was reading. And I didn't like that. It gave me a TBR that I was not very excited for. And so I decided that now, going forwards, once in a while, when I feel like I want to read more sequels than usual, then I will put those on my wheel, either randomly, or I guess I could handpick some if I want. I don't know. I feel like that's less random and kind of defeats the wheel purpose, but we'll see. It's up to me. I make the rules after all. If I choose to do that, then that's something that I'm going to let myself do at my own discretion. Otherwise, we're just going to stick to old-fashioned wheel spinning with prompts. So that being said, this is the first Wheel of TBR video that's going to be going up for 2025. And if you've seen my 2025 wrap-up video, then you already know that something I'm trying to focus on more this year is reading books that I physically own so that I can try to lessen down my physical TBR, as well as reading books that are relevant and currently hyped. This helps me to grow my channel more. It helps me to be talking about some of the things that you guys are actually interested in hearing me talk about. Obviously, it's also good to read indie authors, you know, support authors who are not being crazy hyped already by everybody else on the planet. It helps to bring, you know, obviously unique ideas to the channel and not just be reading the same things that everybody else is. I mean, obviously, I'm still going to try to be doing those things. I'm not going to be trying to only read popular books, but I do still want to give those popular books more of a try, because in pretty much all the years that I have been really doing a ton of reading, I have never really read a ton of new releases, things that are super current. And I just want to try that out this year. I want to try that, A, for the sake of growing my channel, and B, just for the fun of it, just to have a little fun, relax a little bit, and just pick up some newer books that people are hyping up and that make me want to read them. So that being said, I have compiled a list of 3 different categories of books, if you will, that I would really like to be trying to get on my TBR every single month. So the first category is same old, a sequel, or at least a book that is productive in some manner. So this could be a book I'm borrowing from someone, or a sequel, anything else that I deem productive for whatever reason. Maybe it's something I decide to buddy read, anything like that. Just a book that I quote unquote need to read for some reason. So that's going to be one of the categories. The second category is going to be, like I said, a popular book. So just something that has a lot of hype or that a lot of people are anticipating, anything like that. And the third category is going to be a book that I wouldn't otherwise pick up. So I really want to make the kind of purpose of this wheel come through. So essentially, I want to really start picking up books that aren't necessarily things I would pick up ordinarily. Like, I really want the wheel to push me to kind of step outside my comfort zone a little bit and just to pick something up off of my physical TBR that maybe I've had for years and just haven't really thought about or haven't given a try or am intimidated by. That was a really hard phrase to speak for some reason. Anything like that. I just really want to make myself read books that I might end up loving, even if I am not by myself just going to reach towards those immediately. I kind of want to talk about the specific reading goals I have for the month of March for the month of March in terms of those specific categories. So all of the books that are in the stack right now, I am not necessarily expecting to get to all of these or get all of them on my TBR, but these are just kind of some things that I'm thinking about hopefully trying to read in the month of March. This first one though, I definitely do, like, above all else, this is the one book that I really do highly anticipate and want to prioritize over everything else on my TBR in March, and that is The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. I got this book recently. I want to say it was in December or so, which I guess probably doesn't sound that recent, but I don't really haul books all that often. I will get so many books at once. Last like August or so, I literally acquired 15 books in the same weekend, but I go months at a time without buying anything. So I don't know how this happens, but anyway, so I got this in December-ish, somewhere around there, maybe January, who's to say? But I am so excited for this. I saw it in the bookstore and I was like, that looks really like something I would want to get, but I decided not to get it right then. And then I came upon some Barnes & Noble gift cards. They just wandered into my possession on their own two legs, and I ended up with this book. It just looked so delightful. I have no idea what it's about, but it just had the vibes of something that would be right up my alley. And then I came to find out that people love this book, specifically Lexi from Lexi, aka Newly Nova. This was her favorite book of 2025, and I was watching a Becca in the Books video where she was reading other people's, is that who it was? Yes, okay. She was reading other people's best books of 2025, and this was on the list. It was on lots of people's lists. Like, a lot of the people who she was referencing had loved this book as well, and that just made me so excited. I was like, okay, so I'm gonna love this book too, is what you're saying. It looks so cute. It looks like it's gonna be so much fun, and even though I know next to nothing about it, I just already know that I'm gonna have such a fun time with this book, and I am very highly anticipating this one. So this is going to be my popular book for March, my current, the book that's trending book for the month of March. Going forwards, I have kind of compiled a little bit of a list of some books that could count for that prompt, if you will, in the future. And I think I might just end up kind of doing a poll each month to see what you guys want me to read instead of deciding for myself, because I feel like kind of the point of it is to read what you guys are reading, what you guys are wanting me to read. And so for that reason, I feel like a poll makes the most sense. So it's going to be kind of some newer releases as well as just other things I'm interested in reading that are somewhat recent. And a couple things on there will be not necessarily this year or last year, but some really popular books that I just never got around to reading as well from the last 5 years or so. I don't have a specific range on there, but that's just what the list looks like right now that I've compiled. That makes the most sense to me for things to include for this category of book. If there's anything specific that you guys are wanting me to read, this is a great time to comment that down below and say, hey, you should really read this specific book, because chances are I very well might get to it in the coming months. So Raven Scholar is my March book, and we'll go from there. For the other categories, obviously the book I wouldn't necessarily gravitate towards is kind of just up to the wheel. That's not really something I'm assigning a category for. For my productive book / sequels, Unravel Me by Tahara Mafi is something that I've been in the middle of for months now, because I was reading this to my boyfriend and then we kind of stopped, and I was kind of in the middle of some other books and didn't necessarily get a chance to continue this on my own. Kind of where we're at is he isn't really interested in the love triangle, like romance kind of parts of this book, which is very heavy in this book. It kind of was in the first book, but I think the whole world building kind of overshadowed that a little bit, and so he's losing interest because of that. So essentially, I am going to read through this until I get to a more action-filled part and let him know what's going on, and then he's gonna essentially decide from there if he wants to get back into this series with me and continue on from there. But for right now, my main task at hand is just finishing this book up, because I'm on page 318 out of 461. So I'm really close to the end, and I want to know what happens as well. These also are really quick reads, so I don't think it'll take me very long at all to finish this up. And I'm excited for the ending of this book and to jump into the next novella and then the next book after that. So when we started reading this book, I kind of just had a feeling that this one would be slower going, and I have a feeling that the next books are going to pick up a lot and get progressively very much better. So I'm hoping that that feeling is right, but I guess we'll see. The next sequel that I would love to get to this month is A Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. I read Clockwork Angel back in like June or July, and I didn't love it, but I do really love the Mortal Instruments series, the first 3 books of those that I've read. I love those. They're so good. The series, I think like the setting and kind of, I don't know what it is. I think mostly like the setting in these, something about them just wasn't very exciting to me in the first book, but the ending was really, really good. So I'm hoping the energy of that ending carries into this next book and that I enjoy it very much. So we'll see. I'm hopeful. Regardless, I do think I will have some enjoyment of this book, because even though like parts of that kind of dragged, again, there were really good parts of it. And another book of these down is another book closer to being able to read The Mortal Instruments again, because I need to finish up The Infernal Devices in order to continue. I know you don't technically have to, but I have OCD, so I have to personally. So that's one of my plans. And then these next 2 are kind of just random things that I'm gravitating towards. So the first one is The Library at Hellbore by Cassandra Clare. This is just a horror book that I think is so pretty and gorgeous. These are the end papers. I know nothing about this. You'll notice a theme here. I don't like knowing anything about books when I buy them, because I think that kind of ruins the vibe sometimes. So I just kind of look at things and I go, that looks pretty awesome, and I buy it and we go from there. Does that lead me to read things I genuinely enjoy? I think so. It's worked for me so far most of the time. I don't know if this is like super popular. I don't know if a lot of people are talking about this right now. I haven't really seen anybody talking about it aside from when I specifically search The Library at Hellbore. It looks really interesting to me. It's a horror book. I've read a Cassandra Clare book before, which I didn't realize it was by this author until after I bought it. The other book I read by Cassandra Clare was Nothing But Blackened Teeth, and I had mixed feelings on it. I read this to my boyfriend, and we both kind of thought that not a whole lot happened. The vibes were there. It seemed like a really good premise and build up, and then kind of nothing happened. So hopefully this one will have a good premise and build up, and things will actually happen in it. So here's hoping. But yeah, this is one I might possibly try to get on the TBR this month. And lastly, this is kind of a random one, but we have the beginning of the Bible, Creation to Joseph. Now, these are the Kingstone comic book Bibles. There are, I think, 6 volumes. Yes, there's 6 volumes of these. This is the first one. I am an English major and I've never read the Bible. I like vaguely know a couple Bible stories, maybe like barely, but aside from that, I don't really know any of them. And there are so many biblical references in literature and in other places that I just completely miss. They just completely go over my head. And I just think it would be really useful for me to have read the Bible and to know exactly what is being referenced and have like that context for just a lot of aspects of my life, but primarily as an English major and for the career that I want to go into in the publishing industry. So for that reason, I want to pick up the first Bible book. I don't know if I should be intimidated, because obviously, oh, I'm going to read the Bible. That sounds so intimidating. But in comic book form, it really looks like it's not going to be all that heavy. So I'm hoping that's the case. It's also not too long. It's less than 200 pages of this particular volume. So here's hoping. I might squeeze this one onto the TBR this month. I believe that's everything specific that I'm hoping to get on the TBR this month. There's a couple other things that I am like thinking of that I can maybe prioritize, but aside from that, I don't have anything too specific to share with you guys. So without further ado, I think it's time to jump over to the wheel and start spinning. Okay, so this is definitely a bit of an awkward angle to film at. From here over on the wall, you can't even see where my hand is, but just to the left of this wheel is just like a boring, ugly door. I want a nice background, but I don't want it to be too awkward of an angle. So we're just gonna try this for now. If the angle's different in future videos, then it turns out I decided I hate it. So we're gonna go with this and we're gonna roll with it and see how it goes. So I have 6 prompts on the wheel right now because of what I said, where I put the other ones as sequels and then decided I don't want to do that anymore. So we're gonna go ahead and pick the rest of the prompts to fill in the rest of the spaces on this wheel. Add 2 books. Off to a great start. long chapters. I feel like I very regularly get some of the exact same prompts over and over and over again, but that's okay. Book in good condition, short chapters, punishment jar, and last but not least, we have most recently acquired. This one would be really interesting to get. Real quick, I'm just gonna read the rest of the prompts on here too, just so that I've officially gone over all of them. So we have a poll blind pick, which that's like I just reach behind me and grab a book, which is terrifying. Shiny book, lowest alphabetical, booktuber recommendation, and then least ratings on Goodreads. One more thing I want to mention real quick before we start spinning is that I used to have this rule where pretty much any prompt would give me 3 choices to pick from. So if I landed on least ratings, I would look at the 3 books with the lowest ratings and pick between those. I am no longer doing that because I like having wiggle room, I like having options, but I think that I need to not baby myself when it comes to reading books that I wouldn't pick up necessarily. And I think that saying, okay, it landed on that, that's what I'm reading, I think that's gonna really help me accomplish that this year. So we're getting rid of that. I might let myself do that for punishment jar because I feel like that one can be interesting. The one thing I will say though is if I get a prompt that makes me start a new series, in that case, I will allow myself to go with another option because I do still want to be mindful of the series I'm starting. So I might let myself start the series if that's what I'm feeling, if that's what I'm deciding to do, but I'll also give myself the backup option to not and go with whatever the next choice would be. I'm gonna spin 4 times as my base number because especially with the Raven Scholar, I don't know if I've been saying the Raven Cycle. I keep saying it like that in my head and I don't know if I've said that out loud yet or not, but apologies if I have. The Raven Scholar being my #1 priority, it's a really big book, so I'm gonna try to go easy on myself with only 4 books, as well as just the fact that I want to have an achievable TBR because I have not read very much so far this year and I want to feel like I can accomplish like a real goal that I set for myself in terms of bookish numbers. As always, if I land on the same space twice in a row, I will be adding a spin, and add 2 books is also on the wheel. So we'll see how many times I actually end up spinning, but for right now, it's going to be 4 to start off with. All that being said, let's go ahead and start off with spin number 1. I don't know if you can tell, but it looks like it is just barely on long chapters. And even when it's like right split down the middle and I absolutely can't decide, I always just go with the left one. So even if it was directly in the middle, it would have been long chapters anyway. So a book with long chapters. Long to me is anything more than 10 pages. So the Raven Scholar has 643 pages and 80 chapters. So 643 divided by 80 is 8.03, so less than 10. So not long chapters. I know Unravel Me doesn't have long chapters. I think Clockwork Prince might. Should I go with that though? Wait, no, I said I wanted that on my TBR, but now I'm starting to second guess. Surely the Bible has long chapters, right? Okay, but I don't know what counts as a chapter though, is the thing. 18 chapters across 242 pages. That sounds promising. 242 divided by 18 is 13.4. Okay, wait, I'm actually so excited. I turned to this one page that looked so pretty, and it also like smells like a Bible, like a kid's Bible. I don't know how to explain it. That and like flipping to this like watery page, I was like, wait, I actually really want to read this. Okay, yeah, the first book I'm putting on my March TBR is the Bible, volume 1, the Kingstone Bible, the beginning, creation to Joseph. I'm really excited. The art style on this looks absolutely stunning, and I'm just really excited to read this. Also, look at these end papers. This just feels like diving into like a fun fantasy book. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously that's not what it is, but I am excited nonetheless. Okay, wow, what a time to be alive. Let's switch out the long chapters prompt for finish a series. So if this comes up, I have to finish a series. Pretty self-explanatory. Spin number 2 out of 4. I don't know why it loves to land like pretty much directly between 2 prompts every single time, but I have to go with punishment jar because I would feel like I'm cheating if I didn't. So, gosh, I haven't looked at the punishment jar in so long. I don't know if I even know what all's in here, to be honest with you. I'm really nervous. Wait, where is the punishment jar? It's in the other room. I'll be back. So again, because the nature of this jar could be literally anything, I will pick 3 things because I'm really nervous about this specifically. It's still February when I'm filming this, so really on brand here with the Valentine's theme. I do know specifically one thing that's in here is 1/6 of my Shakespeare anthology, which is crazy. That thing is like 3,000 pages. So that's like 500 pages of Shakespeare. So if that comes up, I am just quite frankly not doing that. I'm not reading that in March. It is quite simply not going to happen. But here's the first one. Cheers. The Sixth Man. Oh, that's a book that used to be on my TBR but isn't anymore because it was my brother's, and I was like, I really just don't want to read this book. It's not mine, so there's no reason I should have to, which I have OCD. So books that I own, I do have to read because I make the rules. But if it's technically not mine, even if it's on my shelves, I don't have to read it. I don't know. It makes sense in my head. But anyway, that one doesn't count. Actual prompt number 1. 2010 Odyssey 2. I think that's a sequel, and it's also my parents, and it's not here. I'll put that one to the side as a maybe. I don't really know if I'm counting that or not. This has some weird stuff in it. I don't even know. Okay, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, if I haven't started it yet, which if you don't know is a long series. So that's a choice. Next we have, oh, I have 2 in my hand. What is this? I'm scared. Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. That is a, oh, what's his name? Rumpelstiltskin retelling that I wasn't super interested in when it was super popular, but I was like, maybe I could like that. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna pick one more. Okay, what a time to be alive. Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. This is another book that's my brother's. I mean, the things in here aren't technically things that I own, so yeah. Okay, I'm between, I could just listen to it on audio, you know? Maybe I'll go that route. Because I could read Spinning Silver, but I would feel kind of unproductive if I was reading that when I would just really rather focus on getting down my physical TBR. And I don't think it's one that I would enjoy on audio. And I might not even enjoy it physically reading it, but I think that I could get something out of listening to Astrophysics for People in a Hurry by Neil deGrasse Tyson as an audiobook. So I think I'm gonna do that, which is weird. Okay, that's the outside my comfort zone book for this video. No more of that. That's enough. Okay, moving on. We're going to switch out the punishment jar prompt for lowest alphabetical author on my Goodreads. Spin number 3 out of 4. A booktuber recommendation. This prompt was built specifically for me in this moment. What can I say? You already know I'm gonna go with The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. I don't even have to explain how many booktubers have recommended this book because I already did. So The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson is going on my March TBR. How fun is this? Okay, switching out the prompt, we are gonna go with question mark. Okay, so if this one comes up, then I just have to pull a prompt from the stack and fulfill it right then in that moment. No time to mentally prepare, only chaos in this video. I like that I picked a purple book on the purple prompt. That makes me happy. I'm nervous. I couldn't tell you the last time I got through an entire TBR without having to spin again. So, spin number 4 out of 4. Guys, what? How did this happen? How did we get here? How did we make it here so soon? Well, let's take a step back and let's think about the goals I set in the beginning of this video. I wanted a popular book, which I fulfilled with The Raven Scholar. I wanted something outside my comfort zone, which I fulfilled with Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. Technically, the Bible is productive. So I've sort of fulfilled all 3, although I think I could take this one step further and also have a sequel in my TBR if I wanted. Let me think. Sorry if the angle changed. I got sidetracked, but I would ordinarily do 3 books for a poll. And I have 3 books that I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I would want on this TBR, hypothetically. So the first one being Unravel Me. The next one being The Library at Hellbore. Obviously, this isn't really a productive book, but I would feel good with this one being chosen as I am very excited to get to it. And the Bible is productive. And I feel like if I got this one, like I would just read it really quickly and then could move on to something something productive. So I feel like it's okay. And then the third one was Clockwork Prince. But now that I'm looking at this book, and I also have the Raven Scholar on my TBR, just something tells me that I just wouldn't finish the Raven Scholar and then think, wow, I really want to pick up Clockwork Prince right now. Like, I just don't, it's just too much, I think, for one TBR. I think I need to save this one for a less chaotic time in my life. Potentially after I finish the rest of the TBR. Maybe then. But for right now, I am just not feeling this one anymore. I know I was 20 minutes ago, but no longer. Instead, another productive book that I would like to throw on here is Neon Gods by Katie Robert, because I'm borrowing this from my friend. And I borrow books from my friends for an embarrassing amount of time before I read them. It is mortifying. And I'm a little afraid for when she sees this video and remembers that I still have this book of hers. So I'm so sorry, Ainsley. I love you. One day, you and this book will lock eyes again. Hopefully in the month of March, after I read this book, maybe. So this is going on the poll. So the poll is going to be, I feel like this is a pretty even matchup, especially in terms of having some wide variety, because this is a adult horror book, this is a young adult dystopian, and this is an adult romance. So we've got a nice mishmash of things. Neon Gods by Katie Robert, Unravel Me by Tahara Mafi, and The Library at Hellbore by Cassandra Kos. So very exciting list. Hey guys, it's me from the future. I just wanted to pop in super quickly to update you guys on what book won the poll, because I thought it'd be kind of mean to just leave you guys wondering for the rest of time. So I already just literally 3 seconds ago told you which 3 books were in the poll, so I'm not gonna go over that. But I will say Neon Gods got exactly, I think, 0 votes in the entire poll, so this one did not win, which is funny because Ainsley did vote in the poll. She just did not vote for her own book, which I find kind of silly. I guess I'm not reading that book in March, and it'll be a while before you guys meet again one day, unfortunately. But at first it was really looking like The Library at Hellbore was going to be the clear winner of this poll because everybody was voting for it. But all of a sudden, right at the end, a bunch of votes for Unravel Me really came through. And so these 2 books actually ended up tying. For that reason, I'm just gonna go with Unravel Me as the quote-unquote winner of the poll, because it's just the one I need to prioritize more out of the 2, and I would feel more productive reading this one versus The Library at Hellbore. So they did both win, so I am gonna try to read both of them. The Library at Hellbore is going to be kind of my last priority for my March TBR, so if I finish all of it and want to read one more thing, then I will read this book. So we'll just kind of see as the month goes on if I end up having extra time to read one more book. But yeah, my main focus for this prompt is going to be Unravel Me by Tahara Mafi. And one more thing I wanted to mention that I just thought was really interesting is I had some people voting so many times for the same book. One of my friends literally voted 4 times for Unravel Me because she has 2 Instagram accounts, and she voted on both of my Instagram accounts with both of hers for a total of 4 votes. And I only counted that as 1 vote because each person only gets 1 vote. I thought that that would be the most fair way to do it. But I do appreciate everyone who voted multiple times on both of my accounts. Thank you guys for interacting to your fullest potential with my Instagram content. Okay, yeah, let's summarize the whole TBR, shall we? The first thing we spun on the wheel was long chapters, for which I chose the Bible, the Kingstone Bible, the beginning, creation to Joseph. I feel like I've said the whole Christian name of this book so many times. No pun intended. I'm kidding. I always intend what I say. Then I landed on, Punishment Jar, for which I chose Astrophysics for People in a Hurry by Neil deGrasse Tyson, which I'll listen to on audio. Then we got booktuber recommendations. So obviously I chose The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. And then we landed on poll, for which I chose The Library at Hellbore, Unravel Me by Tahara Mafi, and Neon Gods by Katie Robert. This one's by Cassandra Kos. I said it 100 times now, but I forgot to say it just then, so I felt the need to say it again. That's my list. I'm actually so excited. I also just think the color scheme for this stack is so perfect and on point. I know this is a brown spine, but there's purple right on top. So I promise you it fits and makes sense. And also blue is basically purple. It has a little pink on it, which is also basically purple. So it all matches, I swear. But yeah, so that was my March TBR. It's a little bit early, I guess, to be filming this, but it's just after the middle of February. But I thought if I waited any later, if I waited until next week to film it, then I was worried that I would just film it at the end of the week and then not really have enough time to edit it and then be rushing. I thought I would just film ahead of time. Also considering I'm not really trying too hard hard to read anything in particular in February. So I figured I'd go ahead and get this out of the way, and then I can maybe start trying to chug through this TBR at the end of February if I can, which isn't cheating because I make the rules. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then please hit the like button and subscribe if you would like to, and hit the notification bell if you would like to see the other videos that I post at least once a month, my Wheel of TBR videos, but occasionally other videos too, once in a while when I feel like posting others. I aim to put them up on Thursdays when they do come up, so that's a good day to be looking out for those. My Bookstagram, my Goodreads, and my book talk will all be linked in the description of this video if you guys would like to go check out any of those. My Bookstagram is where I will be putting the poll if you guys would like to vote in that and decide on the final book for me to read in the month of March. Not necessarily final in terms of like that's going to be the last book I read, just obviously the last book that I talked about, you know what I'm saying. Hi guys, it's me from the future yet again. I am back to haunt your dreams and nightmares. So I said a really weird sentence in this last clip. I'm not sure why I forgot how time works and thought that you guys can vote on the poll for these books when that was a while ago now when this video was coming up. So sorry that I am very silly here, but there absolutely will be more polls for you guys to vote in the coming months, particularly on my popular book for each month. I am planning to put up a poll for every single one of those so that you guys can decide what popular book that I will be reading every single month. So do look forward to those, and I will have other content on my Instagram, short form stuff, as well as other polls and other just things on my stories, hopefully. So still go follow me on there if you would like to, if that sounds interesting to you. But unfortunately, this particular poll, unless you've already voted in it, it's not any longer available, unfortunately. But again, there's still going to be so much more on there. So yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them, as well as what you are planning to read in the month of March. Thank you guys so much for being here and for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!